sometimes, shoving a fastball at the top of the zone with high vert and some intent, like that gets the job done. And I think the biggest part of that pitch is I just have the utmost faith in it.
You're listening to the Show We Go Baseball podcast.
What is going on, guys? It's another episode of To the Show We Go Baseball podcast. Today's episode, we have another Red Sox pitching prospect. We actually have our second diamond heel of the offseason here, Max Carlson. Now, Max pitched in 2024 in Salem and made a little brief appearance in Greenville as well. But Max, we appreciate you jumping on, and like I do with everybody else, just to kind of get the feet moving here. How's the off season been treating you so far?
Hey, it's nice to meet you guys. I appreciate you having me on, and yeah, the off season's been great. I mean, I actually finished the year in Greenville. I finished the year the last about 3 or so weeks in Greenville, and we had a couple weeks off. I came straight back to Fort Myers. I live here, and it's been good. I just enjoying the sun for a little while, just relaxing, taking some time off baseball because everybody needs to do that, But we've gotten back to work at the facility, and we got a good group of guys there that I get to train with every single day. Guys you mentioned before, like We Hunt and Sprague, and a bunch of other guys are down there working, and we have a good time down there.
Now, so you live in Florida now. Where are you from originally?
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota, about 25 minutes south of Minneapolis, and I ended up going to the University of North Carolina for 3 years. They had a little bit of a pipeline going on for a while there with Minnesota kids. There was Matt Horvath, who's with the Orioles, one of my good friends, and I had a bunch of other buddies that went to UNC as well. So, and I loved it there, and now we're here with the Red Sox.
Now, were you a baseball exclusive kid, or were you playing other sports too? Because I don't think of Minnesota isn't a place that I think of as like a hotbed for baseball.
Right. No. Yes, but no at the same time. I mean, I played basketball up until 7th grade. And then I quit that. My older brother had quit basketball too to focus on baseball. So I'm going to do the same, and then I was just baseball from then on. I didn't touch a pair of ice skates until my senior year of high school, which some people might think is weird being from Minnesota, but, yeah, no hockey, just a little bit of basketball, baseball through and through.
Were you always a pitcher?
I hit a little bit in high school, but once the pitch, you get to college and professional baseball, it's hard. It's really hard. A lot of respect to these hitters out here doing this every day because hitting is extremely hard. I could never do it.
And your brother played also. Your brother was drafted by the Mariners, right?
Yep.
Did you play a lot with him growing up?
Yeah, we had a pretty close relationship growing up, especially in like the high school age. And once he got drafted, we got to play 1 year together. It was my freshman year and his senior year of high school. We got to play 1 year together. It was really cool. And, odds are we're never going to get to ever do that again. And it was really fun. We made it to the state tournament, and he ended up getting drafted that year as well, which was great for him. And then, yeah, he spent 7 years with the Mariners, and he spent this last year with Milwaukee. So, yeah.
What with your brother being drafted in 2017, did obviously with you being drafted a lot later, did he kind of prep you a little bit for what it was going to be like once you got to affiliate ball? And I guess what kind of advice did he give you once you turned pro?
Oh yeah. He's been a huge resource for me because he's been through injury, he's been through good times, he's been through bad times, he's been through it all in minor league baseball, and he's been a huge resource for me in just prepping me for my first full year of professional baseball. He didn't go to college, so I had a little bit different of experience than he did going to college, and it's very different in college. The camaraderie and the togetherness to win, a national championship out of college is a lot different than grinding in the minor leagues, trying to make it to the bigs. And so we had very different experiences. And when I got to pro ball, that was about the time when he got switched from being a starting pitcher to a relieving pitcher. And that was, my transition as well. When I got drafted, I transitioned to a reliever as well. And, one of the biggest things he told me was just, you got to learn how to be ready every single day. If you're going to be a reliever in the big leagues, you got to be ready every single day. Even in low A baseball, you might not pitch back-to-back days. You might not pitch 4 times a week, but you got to prepare yourself like you're going to. And just staying healthy and being available, being that guy that can, the coach trusts to hand you the ball when he goes out there at the end of the game.
So the decision to go to college, was there going to be an opportunity for you to be drafted, or was it a very easy decision for you as far as UNC?
Yeah, I think my senior year of high school was canceled. Actually, it was the COVID year, so I didn't get to play my senior year of high school. I didn't get to play in front of the scouts that senior year and everything like that. So who knows what would have happened? I mean, I don't have any regrets in my decision, and I think it was the best thing for me, honestly, to go to college and grow up. That's what happens. You grow up when you go to college and learn how to manage yourself and do things the right way. And that's something I learned in college, and I wouldn't want it to be any other way.
Did you find going to the East Coast from Minnesota to be a very radical transition, or like how did you adjust to it? I've got to imagine it was a big culture change.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, actually, for sure, because the kids growing up in North Carolina and the backwoods are a whole lot different than the kids growing up in suburban Minnesota. So it was definitely a complete change, and just how everything is around me. But I adjusted well, and I had been around a very diverse group of kids in high school, playing all over the country and tournaments and whatnot. So in baseball, it's real easy to make friends. I mean, you're forced to be with these guys day in, day out, every single day working, and you're gonna find some common ground, and you're gonna make some good friends.
Yeah, definitely. What did just before we move on from college, what were you studying there? Because I remember you were saying you had some classes you were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a business major, and then I switched to management and society. It's more of a interpersonal role or major, like interacting with people more versus math and business things, which I found more interest in. But that class I'm taking I'm taking a Spanish class because it's my last one I have to take for my degree. So it helps being at the complex every day because you get to talk Spanish with your teammates every single day. So it helps a lot, really.
Yeah, that's the best way to learn it too, is just to be thrown into a situation where you have to speak it. I would imagine that's been useful for you.
100%, yeah. And I know a lot of the Latin guys too. They take English classes, and one of my buddies, Luis Cohen, he said he's got an exam on Thursday. So I said, if you need help, just let me know. Like, and that's what they say too. Like they learn more English at the field talking to us than they actually do in class, which I can totally relate to.
Yeah, I will. I will say, from spending some time in Worcester's locker room this past year, Luis Guerrero actually said that to us. That he obviously he's known English almost his whole life, but he's like, there's lingo and stuff that he's like, I picked up on this stuff because talking to the guys in here, or even like us, like he's like, I pick up on words that I've never heard before. It's not in a dictionary, and I'm just like, okay, it's good to know.
Yeah, for sure.
I did have one last college one for you because I am curious about this. You chose UNC. You grew up in a Big Ten state, and you go off to the ACC. What made you decide to do that? And I guess, was it tough to kind of not like stay, around home and like be in at least one of the Big Ten states up there?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that really changed my perspective on, can you create a life and a career? Can you get a college scholarship to play baseball? When my brother had committed to the University of Florida, and I was like, that was like a big aha moment for me. Like, oh, I can do this too. Like, he can do it, I can do it. And I watched him throughout his recruiting process. I listened to him talk to coaches. I listened to him talk to pro scouts, and just learning and understanding. Sorry, I'm blanking here on this. My bad.
You're good, man.
He just watching him go throughout that process, it really opened my eyes, and I was like, yeah, I can do this. And like University of Florida, they competed for a national championship like a year or two after he had committed there. And that's what you want to do when you go to college. You want to win a national championship. And I just felt like, as I went through the recruiting process, I talked to schools all over the country, north, south, east, west. And, I just felt that it was the best fit in terms of culture, in terms of, winning program. Like, they are historically a winning program, and I was always a huge UNC fan. I was always a basketball fan. Like, I always wanted to go there. And I remember it came down to between University of Florida and North Carolina, and I just wanted to write my own story and follow my own path and go with what my heart felt, and it was with North Carolina.
It's interesting just hearing about your relationship with your brother, because right now in the Red Sox system, there are a couple of other sibling duos that are really for instance, the Garcia brothers, Justinson and John Front. It's been really cool seeing them kind of move up together through the minors. Drew Earhart and Zach Earhart Zach just got drafted.
Yeah.
Something that I've noticed historically is that the littler brother always seems like they're a little bit better than the older brother. And I don't know if it's just because they're competing against they get to play with the big kids, so they're used to that higher competition. Yeah. But have you found that to be the case in your experience?
Yeah, I mean, we're finally at the point, I think, to where I'm old enough to where he's not better than me because he's older than me, we're physically, he's a lot bigger than I am. He's like 6'5", I'm 6'2", but in terms of just like baseball ability and, we're both here. We're both playing professional baseball. He played Double-A this year. I finished in High A, and he's just got the experience. I think at the end of the day, like, he's the older brother. He's been around here. Like, he's got the experience. But, we compete every day, we always talk to each other about, he's like, I hit 97 or whatever. I'm like, I'm coming for you. It's always competition. We're always trying to be better than each other, have the better slider, have the better changeup, whatever it is. But yeah, me and him are super close.
Now, is he your only sibling?
What was that?
Is he your only sibling?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unless you count the dog. Well, two dogs now. So.
What kind of dogs you got?
2 English white labs.
Man.
My mom is just in love with them. They're the 3rd and 4th children.
Now, are your parents like your dad? Was he an athlete?
No, my mom was. Dad, he struck out in t-ball and quit. So he played hockey, and my mom, she did a little softball, but she was big into figure skating and track. So I think a lot of the athletic genes came from her, but the good looks and the toughness came from the dad.
What does your dad do for work?
My both my parents actually are. They work at a wire and cable distributor up in our hometown. They both worked there for my dad 35 years, my mom 25, 30. They met there, and they've been there their whole careers. So they instilled their work ethic and uh, traditions in me and Sam, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean that's so different. Like professional athletes, very different from that. What's their? I guess what has their reaction been to you and your brother? I mean, obviously, you start playing little league or whatever, and it's like, oh well, all the kids are doing this. But there's a point where it's like, oh wow, they're really good at this. They might be able to get a scholarship for this, and then it's
Yeah.
oh, they might be able to play professionally. Like how have they reacted to that as you guys have moved forward?
They've been just amazing, and honestly, from since I was 10, 11, 12 years old, they've done nothing but support me and my brother in terms of, paying for us to travel to tournaments and uh, play on club teams and play in front of scouts and everything like that. They've done everything for us because they believed in us and they care about us, and um, it means the world. And there's nothing that can replace, a parent that'll do something for you like that. And I can't express how much it means, everything they've done for us, but I'm sure you guys can understand.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. All right. I do want to kind of switch lanes here because I did want to ask you about your previous season. Obviously,
Yeah.
that you just came off of that. You struck out 77 in a little over 57 innings in Salem. So what was working, I guess, this year in Salem that obviously you ended up in Greenville at the end of the year, but you had the highest K per nine in your career dating back to your start of your college career. So I guess kind of like walk me through like what was working for you and what did you notice about yourself?
Yeah, it was really it was a real turnaround, and it was huge for me, especially coming off a junior season at school where I didn't feel like I, had my best stuff the whole year. And I spent the off season here in Fort Myers last off season, and I just got to work, and we were doing velo programs. And one big thing that I worked on was my sweeper, my slider. I didn't have anything that moved left, and it was just, you could work with it in college, fastball changeup, but it's a lot tougher too in pro ball. So just getting that third pitch, that breaking ball locked in, and figuring out how to get it to turn left and throw it in the strike zone, that was a huge thing for me. Because it might not be, the craziest pitch yet, but I had something this year that allowed me to take the hitters off of my best stuff, which is, my changeup and my fastball. And that was a huge thing that helped. And such a long season. I didn't, they tell you it's long, but you don't really understand until you've gone through it. But just like coming in the field with the same attitude every day, trying to be the same person, like that's a huge part of it, the mental game, because it gets long, and you can really get yourself in a rut if you don't take care of your mental.
I did see somewhere too, by the way. I know you were kind of talking about your pitch mix a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your fastball had one of the highest whiff rates in the org. Has that always been something that you've had in your belt, or like was that something that you developed, like you said, like being at the complex and working last off season? I guess has that always been something you've had?
Yeah, it has been, and it's something that it's an internal belief that you have in like a certain pitch. It might not fit certain models and ways you pitch batters, but like sometimes shoving a fastball at the top of the zone with high vert and some intent, like that gets the job done. And I think the biggest part of that pitch is I just have the utmost faith in it, and I just there's something about my delivery that makes it a little deceptive. Low vertical approach angle combined with like some good vert on the fastball that gives it a little deception at 90, 93, makes it look 94, 95 versus 90, 93. And that's something I've had since I first noticed it in college. And I was just I found the ability to shove a fastball by a dude in an 0-2 count. And it's just an amazing feeling. There's nothing better than that.
Now, you mentioned a lot of terms that I feel like 20 years ago, nobody was talking about angle or vertical movement or anything like that. How much of a metrics guy are you, and how much has that, I guess, joining the Red Sox organization, has that changed it, like how you approach that at all?
Yeah, I dabbled in it in college. We had all the metrics. I had nothing. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't quite understand it. And the guys with the Red Sox have helped me out with that a little bit, and I'm starting to understand it a little more. And I think it's very useful. I think you can get too caught up in it, but I do think it's very useful when you combine it with just like feeling things out. You throw a pitch and you get the feedback right away, and you get to see how it felt, and you get to see what it did. And it's pretty convenient. It gives you like objective data of what, and teams, they all have these models that show what works and what doesn't. So you get to find out if your stuff works. But yeah, it's grown on me. I like it. I think there's a very good use for it in the game. And I'm just going to keep learning, because what I just spit to you, the low VAA, I learned that like a month ago, and I'm still learning what it all means and how it can affect your pitching. It's very complicated.
Yeah. No, but I'm curious now though. Like the data on your fastball, is it basically what you thought it was going to be when you first saw that? Were you like, oh yeah, I knew it?
Yeah. Yeah. I know it. It's something about me. It's who I am as a pitcher, and I think that's another thing that if young pitchers are listening to the podcast, like understanding your body and how it works and what you do well is a huge thing, and just not losing it and always believing in yourself and why you're good.
Ed brought up a good question, I think, in one of our interviews, I think yesterday with Ehrlicher, but you guys are down. You guys have a big group down there in Fort Myers right now. I think you said there was like 50 to 60 guys probably right now.
Yeah.
It's obviously about to roll into November. What kind of things are you guys like? What does your day-to-day look like down there? Like, what do they have you guys? I know it's probably different for a lot of guys, because I know there's some injured guys down there. I know it's not the same for everybody, but for you particularly, what's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, everything starts in the morning down here. This time of year, it's actually starting to get really nice out now. As you can see behind me, no clouds. It's probably 75 out. It's super nice. But it all starts in the morning. It's still a little hot during midday, so we get all the work done in the morning, all the throwing and whatnot. And you get throwing done in the morning, you get your lift in, you do your arm carry, you do your recovery, and you basically you get your work in, like you do everything you do if you were at home. Um, you got to improve, got to get bigger, stronger, faster, throw harder to make it to the big leagues. So um, just do that, and then stuff, golf, video games. Um, people like, if you have any, those are my hobbies. That's what I spend my free time doing. I golf and uh, play some video games. They just had a new Call of Duty come out, so um, yeah. I mean, everyone has their own hobbies, um, and things they like to do, but they take care of us down here, and they allow us to be able to, you know, do those things in our free time. Be able to have fun versus maybe having to work a job like players had to do 5-6 years ago before all the rule changes and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. So going back to the season, I'm sure a lot of firsts for you, but what was when you think back to the 2024 baseball season for you? Like what's the first thing that comes to mind? What are you the most proud of?
I'd say I'm just most proud of staying healthy. Just sticking through a whole professional season. Not missing any time, not having any issues. I got injured my freshman year of college, and thankfully I've been healthy since then. But switching into a reliever role, and it's a different kind of strain on your arm, and you got to be ready every day versus ready once a week. So it's a little bit different, and that was just one thing I was really proud of myself for, was just taking care of myself well enough to where I didn't have any setbacks, and I was able to pitch, all those innings, and able to go through a whole season.
Yeah. Now, what did they tell you when you got called up from Salem to Greenville? Was it like an official promotion? Was it like them saying that we just need you to eat some innings? Like, what was that conversation?
Yeah, I remember early in the season, I actually went up to Greenville for
Yeah, I remember that.
like 2 games, and I went back down, and that was one of the more we need some innings type of thing. And every org does that. They gotta move guys around to cover innings and whatnot. But when I got moved up there the second time, it was like, hey, you're going to Greenville. I was super excited. A whole bunch of my buddies had already gone up there, and it was just a great feeling, especially after sticking it out for a whole season. Finally getting what you've been working for the entire year. Pretty good feeling.
Now, how does Greenville compare to Salem as a city? Like, how did the two? Now that you've lived in both of them,
Yeah,
how do each compare to each other?
completely different. It's totally different. You got Salem, that's more of a small townish vibe in the mountains, and then you got Greenville, that Floor Field's in the middle of a bustling downtown Greenville, and there's things going on all ends of the night, and but they were both great. I had I think what makes your experience in a city or a place in professional baseball is just the people you're with. And I was in Salem, I was with a great group of guys, and in Greenville it was the same thing. And just having them around me and working every day, I think that makes the experience.
I do not expect you to name every name or anything, but who are some of the friends that you've made? Who are some of your teammates that you've really hit it off with?
Yeah, a whole bunch of us, we're all good buddies. I mean, Blake Wehunt, Matt Duffy, Connolly Early, a bunch of the new guys that came up to Salem this year, the new draft guys. We actually all get along pretty well, and we get groups of 8 to 12 of us out there golfing. We all play video games together and whatnot, and I think that's a really good thing. You got a group of guys that want to work hard and want to make the big leagues, but also you have a good culture, and you have a good work environment to be. It's a recipe for success.
I got a very random question for you here. I've been curious about this the whole podcast. Would you consider yourself a redhead?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay.
I do.
I didn't know, like, because I do too. So, like, I'm not saying
Okay.
that in like a negative way. Like,
No,
I
I
have
get it.
pretty red hair.
Yeah, when I was younger, it was a lot more orange.
Okay.
But
Same.
as I got older, it darkened up, and it's more of it's red. Yeah.
Okay. Mine was like super like pretty much orange when I was young, and then over the years it turned auburn, so it's pretty dark, but it's red.
Yeah, it's not like Noah Dean red, but
that's what I was gonna ask. Like,
yeah.
I got an all redhead team in the Red Sox org right now that's got an opening right now because Brandon Walter is now gone. And it's got I allowed Big Tex in it because Trenner said his beard gets really red, so I allowed it. And then I got Hunter Dobbins in it, and we have an opening. So I'm glad I just found another one.
All right, sweet.
Is it all pitchers? We need to get you guys need like a catcher or something.
There's got to be one out there.
There's got to be someone out there. If I find
I don't know, man. Okay. I mean, we've been doing this a little bit. I know Drew Earhart said that he possibly could dye his hair red if he wanted to, but we'll pass on that. All right, Ed, I got more random questions. If you want me to
let's
just keep
shoot.
firing off.
You want to do what we did last time? You go one, I go one.
Yeah, I kind of like that a little bit. It kind of like kept you on your toes because you didn't know which direction it was going in. Yeah. You kind of already answered this question, but I want to know. I mean, it feels like every single guy in the organization, like when you guys have time, you guys are either golfing or you're playing video games or you're doing both, honestly. Would you say that those are like if you got, your Monday, your day off in the minor leagues, you're either golfing or you're playing video games? Is that accurate?
No doubt. Golfing or video games, it's one or the two. I know out in Salem, there was two nice courses that we went to, Hanging Rock and Roanoke Country Club. And Greenville, I actually did not golf when I was there. I didn't get a chance to because we were on the road. We were on the road for 1 week. I just didn't get a chance to golf when we were there. But and then Florida, they're everywhere. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the professional baseball player makeup or whatever it is. They all golf, they all play video games. But yeah.
So are you a show guy or a TV guy? Or not, sorry, a movie guy. Like which of or none of the above?
I haven't played the show since like 2018.
Oh no, I meant do you watch TV shows or do you watch movies? I'm so sorry. I should have been more specific.
The show has gone downhill though. We'll say
like
that.
MLB the show. TV show. I just finished the old TV show Dexter, and I started the new Outer Banks season. I like that Outer Banks. It's the treasure hunting and whatnot. It's a good show.
Keeps you on your toes.
TV show guy.
All right, so to follow up on Ed though. What's the favorite movie of all time? Like you had to fill a 2-hour window, and you're like, I gotta watch a movie, not a show. What would it be?
Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith.
Let's go.
That's a popular one, Ed.
Because it's great.
I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. That's my thing. I love Star Wars. I love the movies. I love the TV shows. It's my favorite franchise of all time.
Now, did you watch Clone Wars?
Yep.
It took me a little while because I really liked the 2D Gendy Tarkovsky stuff. Like that was amazing. And then they switched it to the CGI, and I wasn't really crazy about that initial movie.
Yeah.
But I think maybe around season, whenever they brought Darth Maul back, I was totally sold on it. Like it was just like, okay, this is great. This is great. I'm in.
That's when it went from being like a kid's show to being like a Star Wars masterpiece, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, did you like the new trilogy?
Yeah, they're great movies. I think they're great pictures. I mean, people have their opinions about the storyline and where it went, but I think they're great pictures, and I appreciate them because they're modern. You know, I love the originals from the 70s and 80s, but nothing tops, you know, those three movies. Like, they're just so visually stunning for Star Wars movies. That's why I like them.
Yeah, I have. It's funny because I feel like it's almost like a generational thing where whichever one you saw first, at least for like I'm 34, so like I think I was 10 when like Phantom Menace came out. So I have like really fond memories of like Attack on the Clones, but you know, like my dad thinks that they're trash. And it's just like, no, the original ones were good, but like the rest of them. And I do wonder if that, because a lot of people my age aren't crazy about like the Disney ones. So it's I do wonder if it has to do with when you saw it, but that's interesting.
No, I understand that argument too from the Star Wars, you know, fandom argument. You know, I just think they're such visually stunning movies, and that, you know, it totally wipes out any, you know, negative thought I had about the plot or where it went. Like, it doesn't matter. They're great movies.
I respect that. I really respect that reasoning.
Yeah.
You the Star Wars talks. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm just not as big into it. No, I do it to Ed all the time when I talk to guys about golf. Ed's like, like it's all right. So I got to give him a little bit, you know, some warning track here.
I hear you.
I got a good one that I asked yesterday that I think I might start asking this to people because it's gonna be fascinating when I get answers of. All right, so you got 3 of your fingers, right? You can dispense a sauce out of 3 fingers for the rest of your life, but you can only have those sauces ever again. You can't have any other sauce. What would the 3 sauces be?
That's a good question. Really good question. This tells a lot about someone.
I agree.
I think I'd say ketchup. That's, you know, you got to have ketchup. I think Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A.
Good pick. Good pick.
That's one for me. And then I think I'd go cane sauce for number 3.
Wow. No ranch, no honey mustard, no nothing.
Nope.
Okay.
Just going for the solid ones. I mean, ketchup, you got to have ketchup, but those other 2, I get cane sauce and Polynesian. I get Polynesian every time I go to Chick-fil-A, but canes, we don't have any of those around here.
Okay. It does tell a lot about somebody, Ed. I feel like I do want to follow up now that you just threw out 2 fried chicken places, because I know Ed's tracking this.
Yep. Hang on. Let me get my chart out.
All right. So you have every single fast food fried chicken place around, like drive-through fast food, every single one, every option's there, and you have to pick one. Where are you going?
I mean, I feel like I kind of have to say Cane's because I said cane sauce, you know, but I think I haven't really. I know there's a Cane's like 2 hours north of me, but I haven't really been to Cane's since I went to Minnesota over the All-Star break. So I might say Zaxby's, but I'm gonna go Cane's. We'll stick with Cane's.
Did you do that on purpose?
Are you a Zaxby's guy?
No, I'm like an unofficial spokesman, I guess, at this point. But
I've been ripping Zaxby's whenever I'm feeling some fried chicken. There's one up the road here, so I go get that sometimes.
I can't believe you threw me the bone though, and then you just like went and picked it up. You're like, see ya.
Took it away.
Yeah. All right, fair. All right, Ed. My heart broke right there, but
it's okay. Maybe when we have Bates on later, he'll have been to Zaxby's and that's his choice. Now we'll have to check him on that. But so you Minnesota? Did you grow up a Twins fan and like what was your favorite team growing up? And I guess for basketball too. Basketball, favorite team, favorite player for basketball and baseball.
Yeah, I was. I remember. I remember coming down here to Fort Myers actually multiple times a year. We had family down here, and we'd come to Twin spring training games all the time. I got pictures of me, in a wheelchair or in a stroller, and um, when I'm first starting to walk down there with my grandpa, watching Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau, and that was about the time when I was growing up when they were with the Twins, and we've got pictures of Joe Mauer at his quick swing events up in Minnesota, and that my brother would go to, and we met Joe Mauer and we got pictures with him and whatnot. So I was a huge Twins fan growing up. I watched games in the Metrodome and at Target Field, and as I grew up, I sort of faded from being a Twins fan. I sort of went more towards being like a Dodgers fan for some reason. But basketball, gotta go with the Timberwolves. I wasn't a huge basketball fan. Like I wasn't watching basketball like I watch baseball, but definitely a Timberwolves fan. Ricky Rubio was huge when I was watching him. Yeah.
Now with Mauer, were you surprised that he was a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Absolutely not. Not a surprise at all. He completely deserved that. I mean, he's one of the greatest Twins of all time. So I loved watching him growing up. And yeah, he actually went to a high school pretty close to me up in Minnesota. So he's got all those Minnesota high school records. I remember hearing about striking out 2 times in one season or something like that. Some crazy stat. But
Sheesh.
Yeah, he was incredible. Just that because I remember he had like 360 or something one season, and he played just about every game at catcher. Like it was nuts.
Yeah, he was an unbelievable high school baseball player in Minnesota. From what I heard, I mean, I didn't see it, but.
All right, I got one final one. I need. I figure you're a North Carolina football guy. Yeah, I would assume so. So, can you give me either a thumbs up or a thumbs down? We're probably going to have a lot of people that root for the New England Patriots listen to this. So, can you give us either like, hey, we're going to be okay with Drake May, or like maybe not?
Solid. You'll be all right. I met him once actually at it's called the Rammies. It's like a athlete award ceremony at UNC. It's they call it the Rammies, and I actually presented an award my junior year for one of my teammates. And when I was sitting there waiting to go out and present the award, I sat next to Drake May, and we talked a little bit. And he's a great guy. He's down to earth. He's a Tar Heel, so he's a hard worker, and I don't think he'll let you guys down.
Heard it here, Ed. You got anything before
I got
we?
One last one for you. So I have my sister had a kid 8 months ago, and his name happens to be Max. Also, he was named after my his great grandfather, my grandfather, and just Max wasn't short for anything. So I was just wondering, is your name short for something? And is there like a family history with it, or was it just like they like the name?
Yeah, it's short for Maxwell. I wish it was short for Maximilian. That would be a lot cooler. But no family history behind it. I think my mom just liked it. My dad wanted to name me Mason, but my mom carried me for 9 months, so I think she has final say on that. But yeah, just Max, short for Maxwell. Some guy in college, they called me Carl or Carly. Yeah.
All right. Well, Ed, that's Maximilian, by the way. That's an incredible name. So I don't blame you.
I don't think Maxwell is bad. At least you have like a Beatles song, you know?
Oh,
it's not agree with him, though.
I know a guy whose legal name is Maximilian, and I was really jealous.
Yeah, you're like never shorten that. Just always go by that. So
yeah.
All right, Max. Well, you gave us a ton of time, so we appreciate you hopping on.
Hey, no
Definitely
problem.
looking forward to seeing you in spring training this year. But thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Sorry I talked your ear off a little bit, but I had fun.